is going on, my fellow movie nerds and geeks alike? I have a video for you guys today that's a bit out of character for our channel. I don't really consider us much of toy collectors or collectible collectors so much anymore. I'm just more into the movies themselves these days rather than having toys littering my apartment. But every once in a while, one comes around that I just cannot say no to.
Sorry everybody!
And that just happened this past week when NECA announced the ultimate Pamela Voorhees Friday the 13th action figure. Now, if you've been watching our channel for a while, you know I absolutely adore Friday the 13th and have quite an impressive Friday the 13th collection. If you want to go back into our channel, you can see the video I did a couple years back where I went over almost every single item of Friday the 13th merchandise that I own. But one thing I have really been keeping up with as far as action figures, collectibles is concerned, is the ultimate line of Friday the 13th figures. I think they are amazing. They come with so many great special pieces and things that tie into the film, literally make it the ultimate edition of any kind of collectible having to do with that certain film.
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, an old friend of the Christies.
About 6 months ago, some photos had popped up online showing a picture of a Pamela Voorhees action figure. And there was rumors that it was supposed to be in the NECA Ultimate Friday the 13th line. But at the time, everyone kind of was like, I don't think so. I think all the rights are still tied up in that mess that's been going on for years now. So everyone, including myself, chalked it up as to just being a very, very impressive custom homemade action figure. As you can see today, that wasn't the case. It was actually a figure that they were making just in time for Mother's Day. Now, this isn't the first time Pamela Voorhees has had an action figure, of course. Back in the early 2000s, Sideshow Toys put out this collectible Pamela Voorhees action figure with all the clothing and things like that. And what's funny about this one is Betsy Palmer herself was still alive when this one came out, and she herself saw it and was just like, that doesn't look anything like me.
Bruh.
But I'll be damned if this isn't a really cool action figure. I'm just glad that nowadays, people are getting the likenesses and sculpting beautiful works of art that actually look like the people in the films for once. And a few years later, NECA released the 25th anniversary box set of Friday the 13th that also features a Pamela Voorhees action figure alongside her son, good old Tater Sack Jason, and an awesome rendition of the shrine featuring her severed head from the first film put on the pedestal, well, what Jason puts on the pedestal in the second movie. This one is awesome. This is one that I have cherished since the day it came out. I picked it up like probably the first week it was ever released. This one goes for a pretty penny these days. But again, Pamela Voorhees, the sculpt and the way she looks inside here, it's just not quite right. Still a beautiful piece. And even a few years ago, NECA released this action figure that went along with their clothed action figure line. This one, of course, is Pamela Voorhees from the third film. Her decaying corpse pops up out of the water and is just coming over the canoe after our final girl. Granted, this one isn't Betsy Palmer, but still, very cool that they are continuing to honor the fact that Pamela Voorhees was an iconic character in this slasher franchise. There was also one done for the 2015 Comic-Con that features Pamela Voorhees in another clothed option featuring a young Jason Voorhees. This one is highly sought after, and because it was a limited Comic-Con exclusive, it goes for insane amounts of money. Would I love to have it? Of course. I'm just not willing to shell out that kind of money for an action figure, but still very cool. Now, if you are a fan of Friday the 13th or the NECA Ultimate line of action figures, you know they've been doing these Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees action figures for quite some time. It all started when they did the video game Jason, and since then they've put out renditions of the action figures from Friday the 13th 2, Part 3, The Final Chapter. There's even 2 renditions of Jason from Friday the 13th 5, including the Dream Jason and, of course, the Roy Burns action figure. They did the Jason Lives figure. They did Friday the 13th, The New Blood Part 7 Jason only 4 years ago. And they also did Freddy vs. Jason, and they also did the remake Jason. After the New Blood Jason came out 4 years ago, it seemed to kind of die out and there wasn't any new action figures coming out, which is probably due in part to the ongoing legal dispute and rights issue between Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham, which has just been going on for years, and it's also the reason why we haven't seen a new movie or seen any progress with any TV show or any other merchandise for that matter. But it seems that a lot of those rights issues have been cleared away. Now what that means, no one really knows. Not even Larry Zerner, Shelley himself, who has been kind of gracious enough to explain to the fans what's been going on. He's even said the rights have been kind of cleared up, but what that means, no one really knows. Who owns the rights to Friday the 13th, the name? Who owns the rights to the merchandise? Who owns the rights to Jason Voorhees? Who owns the rights to use the mask? It's all a muddy, disgusting mess, but since that seems to be cleared up, the figure that has been teased for years is finally in hand. Now, this seems to have been in production and finished a long time ago, due in part to the fact that they just announced this willy-nilly and were shipping it immediately. Now let's just take a quick look into the figure. First of all, you have this awesome cover art, which is of course the iconic imagery from the first film, the first poster, and it's got like a nice embossed, shiny look to it, while the rest of the box is matte. Same with the Friday the 13th on the side here. And you also have all the art depicting all the iterations of Pamela Voorhees you will have inside this box. Now, like all the other Ultimate action figures, you get this awesome window box display. You have 4 different iterations of Pamela's head. You also have a bunch of different hands. You have the oar she's trying to stab Alice with, a machete, her Bowie knife, of course, a little hammer, a bow and arrow. It is just awesome, and they really nailed the likeness with all her little facial expressions. You have her awesome sweater, which is iconic, of course. It's just beautiful. I'm so happy that Betsy Palmer, I wish she was alive to see how fucking finally they got her likeness correct in all these awesome iterations. One thing I think that would be funny if they included in here would be like a set of hands that were just like a little hairy, just like at the end of the film after her head is lopped off by Alice. You see Tom Savini's hands come up, grasping at where the head used to be, and you could see how hairy the hands were. That would just be a funny like little add-on if they could have included here. But God, am I so happy that this came out the way it did. It is beautiful. Good old Betsy Palmer. God, she was such a sweetheart when I met her almost 20 years ago. Now, I know a lot of you out there are going to be like, oh my God, open that figure up. Let it breathe. Bruh. I'm not going to open this thing. I don't open my Ultimate action figures. I love that they're set up like this with the poster art, and then you have the window box display so you can look at it any way you want, and everything's just right there so you can look at it at any chance you want. There are going to be so many videos out there of people talking about this figure, opening it up, showing you every little piece, so feel free to go visit any other video out there. I just wanted to use this time to not only showcase this beautiful Pamela Voorhees action figure from NECA, I wanted to talk about the history of Pamela Voorhees action figures, and I also wanted to use this time to just talk about how great it is that the rights seem to be cleared up now that this is getting released. This now opens the door possibly for a Friday the 13th Jason Takes Manhattan Part 8 action figure, which is the only iteration of Jason that has never seen an action figure or collectible ever. And on top of that one, they still haven't done a Jason Goes to Hell action figure in this line. They have done that figure in the past with other companies, other lines, and it also opens the door for possibly a Jason X action figure, which is another figure that had a movie maniac back in the day that I have on my shelf sitting over there. I think it would be great if they do the Jason X figure and you get 2 iterations of it like they did with Part 5. Maybe give us the Uber Jason, of course, and the standard Jason. It's great news that this got released. It is beautiful, and if you're a fan of Friday the 13th, especially the original, and you're just a fan of all these action figures in general, this is a must pick up in my opinion. The sculpt is great. I'm no action figure savant. I don't know what's good, but to me, this thing is fucking beautiful, and if you're a fan of the series, you gotta pick it up. And it's just awesome that we're finally continuing on with this line. We are so close to finishing and having every single Jason Voorhees or Friday the 13th entry in action figure form. I can't wait to see what they do next.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
Anything will be better than this fucking Jason universe thing that they've had going on.
Ew.
Alright guys, so that's the video I have for you guys today. I'm sorry it's not detailed and I didn't open the figure. You could yell at me in the comments all you want. But I wanted to deliver you guys a different kind of video just because I've kind of been doing the same stuff over and over and I wanted to change it up at least a little bit. But I will see you guys in a new video shortly, I am sure of it. Always remember, the horrors persist, but so do we. I'll see you guys soon. Adios.
We can go now, dear. Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.